Could a single penny in your pocket be worth nearly $900,000? Sounds unbelievable, right? But today, we're talking about the 1970 Lincoln penny, a coin that might just change the way you look at loose change forever. Let's dive into the mystery behind this rare copper cent, its insane value, and how you might own one without even knowing. First, let's rewind the clock to 1970. It was a big year for America. The Beatles broke up, gas was just 36 cents a gallon, and the U.S. Mint struck millions of Lincoln cents at the Denver Mint, marked with a small D beneath the year. But not all of these pennies were created equal. While most were standard copper cents, a tiny handful were minted with major errors or rare features, making them wildly valuable to collectors. So what exactly makes a 1970 Lincoln penny worth hundreds of thousands of dollars? There are a few key things to look for. One of the most famous versions is the double-dyed verse, where the design elements, especially the date and liberty, appear doubled. This error is caused by a misalignment during the minting process. These doubling errors can make the coin super rare and super valuable. Zoom in on coin detail. Example of doubled date or letters. Now here's where it gets wild. One particular 1970 Lincoln penny, rumored to feature a combination of errors and in pristine condition, was allegedly valued at $895,000. That's right, almost $1 million for a single cent. While some reports around this coin are debated in the numismatic community, authenticated and graded versions of this coin can sell for thousands, sometimes tens of thousands, at auction. Even if you don't have the $895,000 coin, there are many 1970 pennies floating around that could still be worth a fortune. Alright, so how do you know if you have one of these treasure coins? Here's what to do, especially on Liberty and the date. A magnifying glass helps. The redder and shinier, the better. If it looks uncirculated, you might have something special. And if you're still unsure, send it to a grading service like PCGS or NGC for professional evaluation. Let's clear the air. Is the $895,000 valuation real? While no public record confirms that exact sale price, private collectors sometimes pay outrageous sums for one-of-a-kind coins. It's not impossible, but even if your 1970 penny isn't that rare, it could still net you hundreds or thousands. And remember, misinformation is common in the coin world. Always verify coin claims with experts or auction results before making a sale or purchase. So, next time you're digging through your change jar or coin collection, don't dismiss that old penny. It might just be your ticket to a huge payday. 1976 Mint Abraham Lincoln 1-cent penny. Now you might be wondering, what makes this little copper penny from 1976 so special, and why are some of them rumored to be worth thousands, or even millions of dollars in today's market? Well, sit tight, because we're going to uncover everything you need to know, from how much this coin is really worth, to what makes certain 1976 pennies incredibly rare, and why collectors are going crazy over some variations. Let's start with the basics. In 1976, the Denver Mint produced a massive amount of Lincoln cents. We're talking about over 4 billion coins. So at first glance, the 1976 Lincoln penny seems like nothing out of the ordinary. It's just another copper coin with Abraham Lincoln's profile on the front, and the Lincoln Memorial on the back. But here's the thing, not all 1976 pennies are created equal. Most of them are only worth face value, 1 cent. Even in circulated condition, you'll find these coins all over the place. But the story gets a lot more interesting when you talk about condition, errors, and unique characteristics. Let's talk about the metal first. Pennies from before 1982 were made mostly of copper, 95% copper, to be exact, with just a small amount of zinc. Because of the copper content alone, even a worn-out 1976 penny is worth a little more than 1 cent in metal value. As of now, the copper in a single penny like this is worth around 2 to 3 cents. But hold on, that's still not the life-changing value we're talking about. We're looking for the rare ones. Now let's get into what truly makes a 1976 penny valuable. Number 1. Mint state condition. If you find a 1976 penny that has never been used, with absolutely no scratches, perfect shine, and sharp details. That's called mint state. The higher the grade, the more it's worth. Professional grading companies like PCGS and NGC use a scale from 1 to 70. A coin graded MS67 or higher is extremely rare for this year. One 1970 60 penny in mint condition graded MS67 Plus was sold for hundreds of dollars. Another, in MS68 red, went for over $7,000 at auction. Number 2. Errors. This is where it gets really interesting. Some coins from the 1970-60 batch were struck with major errors that make them ultra-valuable to collectors. Here are a few to look out for. Double die obverse. That means the front of the coin has doubling in the letters or numbers. If you see the date or the word Liberty with a shadow effect or repeated outline, that could be a double die. These coins are very collectible. Off-center strike. If the design on the coin is not properly centered, and part of the image is missing or shifted to one side, that can be worth serious money. Clipped planchet. This means part of the coin is missing because it was cut wrong at the mint. These can fetch high prices depending on how dramatic the clip is. Struck on the wrong planchet. Now this one is super rare. A penny that was mistakenly struck on a dime or foreign coin blank can be worth thousands, even tens of thousands. So far, the record for the highest price paid for a 1970-60 penny was close to $10,000. And that was for a mint condition, red-toned coin graded by PCGS. But what about the rumors of $1 million penny? Let's be real. The vast majority of 1970-60 pennies will never be worth anywhere near that much. But, and this is important, if you have a coin with a major error that has never been documented before, and it gets certified by a top grading company, you could be sitting on something that collectors would pay big money for. In the world of rare coins, a unique piece can skyrocket in value overnight. Collectors love coins with stories. A 1970-60 penny with a dramatic error, in flawless condition, or with a known historical rarity, could someday be auctioned for $1 million if the right buyers are interested. It all comes down to rarity, demand, and condition. So, what should you do? Go through your old change, dig through those jars and drawers, and inspect your 1970-60 Lincoln pennies closely. Use a magnifying glass or even your phone's camera zoom to look for doubling, misstrikes, or missing details. And if you think you have something special, get it appraised by a professional. Don't clean it, don't alter it, just get it checked. Also remember, copper is rising in value over time. So even the regular pennies might gain value slowly as metal prices increase. Before we wrap up, let's break down the general value range of the 1970-60 penny as of today. 1 cent to 3 cents in copper melt value, $5 to $10 MS66 and MS67, $50 to several $100 MS68 red, several $1,000 major errors and unique varieties. Hundreds to thousands, depending on the specifics. $1 million potential, extremely rare, but not impossible if it's a one-of-a-kind coin with a dramatic error or story. Alright, coin hunters, that's all for today's video. If you enjoyed this deep dive and want more content on rare coins, valuable collectibles, and money you might already own, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and tap the notification bell so you never miss a treasure hunting tip. 1989 No mint Mark Abraham Lincoln 1 cent penny coin. Is it really worth thousands, or even millions of dollars? Could you have a hidden fortune sitting in your pocket right now? Let's find out. Now let's start with the basics. The 1989 Lincoln penny is one of the most common coins from the late 20th century. It was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which traditionally does not use a mint mark on pennies, so when you hear the term no mint mark for a 1989 Lincoln penny, that simply means it was made in Philadelphia. Over 7 billion of these pennies were made in 1989. Yes, you heard that right, more than 7 billion. That makes it one of the most widely circulated coins in U.S. history. So what makes one of these pennies special? Well, here's the twist. While most 1989 pennies are worth only face value, or maybe 1 cent to 5 cents if they are in circulated condition, there are a few rare ones that collectors are going crazy over, and those rare ones can be worth hundreds, thousands, and in some cases even close to $1 million. What makes these pennies rare? It's all about errors and condition. Let's talk about error coins first. Some 1989 Lincoln pennies were struck with mistakes that happened during the minting process. These are called mint errors, and they can make a coin incredibly valuable. Examples of valuable mint errors include double die errors, where the design is doubled off center strikes, clipped planchets, and wrong metal composition. If you find a 1989 penny with a clear doubling of the date, or the words "In God We Trust" or "Liberty," you might be holding a double die error, and those can fetch hundreds to thousands of dollars depending on condition. There are also coins struck on foreign planchets, or made with transitional metals, which are extremely rare. Imagine a penny that was accidentally struck on a dime blank, or with the wrong copper-zinc ratio. Collectors will pay big bucks for those. And now let's talk about condition. Even without an error, a 1989 no mint mark Lincoln penny can be worth serious money if it is in pristine condition. That means no scratches, no wear, perfect luster, and a flawless strike. These top-grade coins are known as MS-67, MS-68, or even MS-69 in the coin grading world. MS stands for mint state, and the higher the number the better. Some 1989 Lincoln pennies graded MS-68 red have sold for over $5,000 at auction, and collectors are still hunting for that perfect MS-70, which is almost unheard of for this coin. If one ever surfaces, the bidding could explode into the tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars. Now here is where it gets exciting. Some listings online claim that certain 1989 pennies are worth $1 million or more. Are these real? Well, some sellers post these prices based on extreme rarity errors that have not been confirmed or just for publicity, so always be cautious. A penny selling for $1 million would need to be a once-in-a-lifetime error, likely authenticated by experts and backed by major auction houses. But here's the catch: it could still happen. Coin collecting is full of surprises, and discoveries happen every year. There are stories of people finding ultra-rare coins in pocket change, and those coins selling for more than the value of a house. So what should you do if you have a 1989 no mint mark Lincoln penny? First, inspect it carefully. Look at the date and the details with a magnifying glass. Check for doubling, strange markings, or off-center designs. If it looks perfect and shiny, consider sending it to a grading service like PCGS or NGC. They can tell you exactly what condition it's in and whether it has potential value. Also check sold listings on coin auction sites to see what similar pennies are selling for. Now here's a quick rundown of possible values for a 1989 no mint mark penny. Circulated condition around 1 to 5 cents. Uncirculated MS-65 to MS-67 up to $50. High grade MS-68 red, over $5,000. Rare errors or extreme high grades, potentially tens of thousands or more. And if you truly have one of a kind $1 million error, then you have hit the jackpot. So next time you're digging through change or sorting through an old coin jar, take a second look at that 1989 Lincoln penny. It might just be the hidden treasure you never knew you had. And if you do find something rare, comment below and share your story. Who knows, maybe your coin could be the next $1 million mystery. 1994 no mint mark Lincoln 1 cent penny. At first glance, it might just look like an ordinary penny. You probably have a few of them lying around. But there have been many rumors and claims floating around online suggesting that this penny could be worth thousands, or even millions of dollars. So let's break it all down and find out the real story behind this coin. What makes it special, and how much is it actually worth in today's market? Let's start with the basics. The 1994 Lincoln penny is part of the ongoing Lincoln cent series that started all the way back in 1909. The obverse features the iconic bust of President Abraham Lincoln designed by Victor David Brenner. On the reverse you'll see the Lincoln Memorial, which was introduced in 1959 and continued until 2008. Now the interesting part is the absence of a mint mark. If you flip over your 1994 penny and see no letter under the date, that means it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. This is completely normal for that year. In fact, the majority of 1994 pennies were produced in Philadelphia, and they did not include a mint mark. So contrary to what some may believe, a 1994 penny without a mint mark is not rare by itself. The United States Mint produced more than 6.5 billion pennies in Philadelphia that year. That makes the 1994 no mint mark penny one of the most common pennies in circulation from the 1990s. So where do all the rumors of high value come from? Most of the extremely valuable pennies you hear about are special error coins. These include things like off-center strikes, double dies, clipped planchets, or coins struck on the wrong metal. For example, if you have a 1994 penny that shows doubling on Lincoln's face or letters, you might be looking at a double die error, which can bring in a nice premium dot, or maybe you have a penny that looks like it's made of silver or aluminum. That could be a transitional error where the coin was struck on a planchet meant for another denomination or metal type. These rare minting mistakes are what give a coin extraordinary value. In some rare cases, pennies with dramatic errors have sold for thousands at auctions. But here's the truth. A regular 1994 no-mint mark Lincoln penny with no errors in circulated condition is only worth face value, which is 1 cent. In uncirculated condition, meaning it was never used and is in pristine shape, it might fetch between 10 cents and $1 depending on the grade. Now, if you happen to have a coin graded MS67 or higher by a reputable company like PCGS or NGC, that's when you start to see real collector value. An MS67 red 1994 penny can sell for $50 to $150 or more. That's not bad for a 1-cent coin. But keep in mind that the chances of finding one in that condition in your pocket change are extremely low. So what about the $1 million claim? Could your 1994 penny really make you rich overnight? Let's be clear. There is no confirmed sale of a regular 1994 no-mint mark penny for anything close to $1 million. Those headlines you may have seen online are either fake news, exaggerated stories, or misunderstandings about rare error coins. Yes, it is true that rare Lincoln cents from other years like the 1943 copper penny or the 1955 double die can be worth hundreds of thousands and sometimes close to $1 million, but these are incredibly rare and not from 1994. Sum it up, here is what you need to remember. If your 1994 no-mint mark penny looks completely normal and has no visible minting errors or unusual features, it is worth about 1 cent if circulated. If it's in mint state and has been professionally graded high, it could be worth a few dollars to over $100 depending on grade. And if it has a major error and is authenticated by experts, then, and only then, could it be worth significantly more. Always be cautious about sensational online claims. If you think your coin might be special, do your homework, take it to a professional coin dealer or submit it for grading. That's it for today's video. I hope this helped clear up some of the myths surrounding the 1994 no-mint mark Lincoln penny. Be sure to like this video if you found it helpful. Share it with other collectors or anyone wondering if they're sitting on a fortune in pocket change. And don't forget to subscribe for more coin collecting tips, values, and hidden treasure guides. 2017 P Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln 1 cent coin. Now, before you toss that little copper-colored coin aside, hear me out. The 2017 P Lincoln penny might look ordinary, but it marks a historic moment in U.S. mint history. That little letter P on the coin's obverse, just under the date, actually changed the course of modern coin collecting. Here's WHY.IN 2017. To celebrate the 225th anniversary of the United States Mint, the Philadelphia Mint placed its mint mark, the letter P, on the 1 cent coin for the first time ever. That's right. For over 2 centuries, Lincoln pennies struck at the Philadelphia Mint had no mint mark at all. But in 2017, for the first and only time in U.S. history, they broke tradition. It was a tribute to the mint's workers and a surprise gift to collectors. So what does that mean for you? Well, if you've got a 2017 penny with a P on it, you're holding a piece of coin history. Over 4.6 billion of these coins were made, which means they're not exactly rare, unless you know what to look for. That's where things get interesting. Let's break it down. First, the face value of the 2017 P penny is obviously just 1 cent. In average circulated condition, it's still worth 1 cent. But if you have a mint state example, meaning it's in perfect uncirculated condition with no scratches or wear, its value starts to climb. An uncirculated 2017 P Lincoln cent can be worth anywhere from 10 cents to a few dollars, depending on its grade. But that's just the beginning. Let's talk about errors and varieties. Some of these 2017 P pennies were struck with minting errors, and those coins can be worth serious money. Look out for die cracks, doubled dies, off-center strikes, and misaligned dies. A well-defined double die error on a 2017 P penny can sell for $50 to $200 depending on visibility and demand. Off-center strikes with visible dates can sell for $20 to over $100. But the real jackpot comes from major mint errors or coins graded in ultra-high mint state, like MS-68 or MS-69. Coins graded at this level by companies like PCGS or NGC can bring in hundreds or even thousands of dollars, especially if they're accompanied by strong eye appeal and rich red luster. And here's where it gets truly mind-blowing. Some collectors and dealers are speculating that special examples of the 2017 P penny, especially ones with unusual toning, rare errors, or pristine condition, could eventually become 5-figure or even 6-figure coins. In private auctions and among high-end collectors, prices can go wild. It's not out of the realm of possibility that a top-graded, error-heavy 2017 P cent could be worth tens of thousands or more. Imagine that. A coin you pulled from change today could one day fund your retirement. So how do you know if your 2017 P Lincoln penny is valuable? Check for the P mint mark under the date. Inspect the coin for unusual lines, doubling, or shapes. Use a magnifying glass or loupe to see detail errors. Compare your coin to known errors on numismatic sites. Consider getting it graded. If it looks flawless, store it properly to protect its value. If you're really lucky and you find a rare die variety, a minting anomaly, or one in perfect untouched condition, the value could leap exponentially. Let me repeat this. While most 2017 P pennies will only be worth a penny or slightly more, the rarest and most collectible examples have already sold for hundreds. And some experts believe million-dollar sales could happen if the right collector comes along for the right coin. So don't overlook your pocket change. The next time you see a 2017 P penny, give it a good look. You might just be holding a historic piece of American coinage that's worth way more than 1 cent. 2017 D. Abraham Lincoln 1 cent penny. That's right, the small copper-colored coin that most people ignore might just be hiding a secret that could put big money in your hands. So let's break it down. The 2017 D penny is one of the most commonly found coins in circulation. The D stands for the Denver Mint, where these coins were produced in huge numbers. We're talking over 4 billion pennies minted in 2017 with the D mark. So at first glance it might seem like this coin isn't rare at all, and that's true for most examples, but here's where things get interesting. There are 3 key factors that can make a common penny valuable. First is condition, second is errors or varieties, and third is demand among collectors. Let's talk about condition. If you have a 2017 D penny in pristine condition, especially one that has never been in circulation and looks like it just came off the press, then you're in luck. These coins graded by professional services like PCGS or NGC can fetch much higher prices if they are in mint state or better. We're talking grades like MS-67, MS-68, or higher. The higher the grade, the fewer of those coins exist. Now here's the money talk. A 2017 D penny graded MS-67 has sold at auction for around $100 to $300 depending on eye appeal, but when you get into MS-68 territory, that number jumps fast. There are confirmed sales where collectors have paid $500 and even close to $1,000 for a single 2017 D penny. That's a big leap for a 1 cent coin, but it's not just conditioners and varieties can bring in the big bucks. Some 2017 D pennies have been found with striking errors such as off-center strikes, double dies, die cracks, or even coins struck on the wrong planchet. Those kinds of errors can be extremely rare and highly collectible. If you find one with a strong doubling on the date or on the lettering, especially Liberty or in God We Trust, that could be a double die depending on the severity and rarity. That alone could take a 1 cent coin into the hundreds or even thousands of dollars. So can a 2017 D Lincoln penny be worth $1 million? Well, let's be realistic. Most 2017 D pennies are worth just face value. Some uncirculated examples might bring in a few dollars. High-grade ones might hit the $100 or $1,000 mark, and rare errors can boost that even higher. But $1 million penny, that's an extreme rarity. That would only happen if the coin had a previously unknown and dramatic error that makes headlines in the numismatic world. So far that hasn't happened for the 2017 D, but it doesn't mean you shouldn't keep checking your pocket change. Here's what you should do. Check your 2017 D penny carefully. Look for mint luster and clean fields. If it looks brand new, consider having it graded. Use a magnifier to scan for doubling or other strange features. If you spot something odd, look it up or take it to a coin dealer or grading service, and who knows, your simple penny could be worth hundreds, thousands, or maybe someday even make history. 2018 D Mint Mark Lincoln 1-cent coin. Now I know what you're thinking, can a modern penny, minted in the billions, really be worth anything more than 1 cent? And some of you might have even seen those bold claims online. Headlines and videos saying this little copper-colored coin could be worth thousands, or even $1 million. So let's break it all down. What's the truth? What's the actual value of this coin? And are there any rare varieties or errors that make the 2018 D Lincoln penny something you should keep an eye out for? Stick around, because we're going to cover everything from minting facts to market values, and even a few surprising sales that might just have you checking your pocket change. First off, let's talk about the basics. The 2018 D penny was minted in Denver, which is what the D Mint mark stands for. Over 5.6 billion of these coins were produced. That's billion with a BSO. Right away we know we're not dealing with a rare coin in the traditional sense. These pennies are everywhere. They are in cash registers, jars, car cup holders, couches, you name it. But here's where things get interesting. Even in high mintage years like 2018, a small percentage of coins can leave the mint with errors. And that's where collectors start paying attention. There have been verified reports of some 2018 D Lincoln pennies with striking errors, including off-center strikes, die cracks, doubled dies, and bizarre planchet issues. One of the most sought-after error varieties is the 2018 D double die obverse, where the details in Lincoln's eye, his ear, or the inscriptions like "In God We Trust" and "Liberty" show doubling when viewed under magnification. Collectors love this stuff. Now let's talk about value. A regular 2018 D penny in circulated condition is, of course, still worth 1 cent. Even uncirculated examples, the kind that haven't been touched by hands or used in circulation, are usually worth around 10 to 25 cents if you buy or sell in bulk. But coins graded by professional services like PCGS or NGC, especially if they grade in mint state 67 or higher, can sell for a few dollars to over $20 or $30, depending on condition and demand. For example, a PCGS graded 2018 D Lincoln penny in mint state 68 red once sold for around $200, which is an impressive return for a modern coin. So what about those headlines claiming a 2018 D penny is worth $1 million? That's where we enter the territory of overhyped listings, clickbait, and wishful thinking. There have been eBay listings showing asking prices in the hundreds of thousands or even millions of dollars. But the truth is, those coins haven't sold for that much. They were usually posted by people who either don't understand coin values or are hoping for a miracle buyer. In the real world of numismatics, number 2018 D penny has ever sold for $1 million? Not even close. That said, some rare error coins from other years have brought big money. Coins with dramatic misstrikes, off-metal errors, or rare varieties. But for the 2018 D, even the best examples usually top out in the low hundreds of dollars. And that's for coins in pristine condition with rare errors. So here's the bottom line: if you find a 2018 D penny in your change, it's probably just worth 1 cent. But if you find one that looks unusual, maybe the lettering is doubled, or the coin is off-center, or there's a crack or die chip, then it's worth a closer look. Get a magnifying glass or a coin microscope, compare it to known errors online, and if it really looks special, consider having it graded or appraised by a coin dealer. Because yes, while the $1 million claims are mostly myths, a rare error coin can still put some real money in your pocket. And who doesn't love the idea of turning a penny into $100 or more? 2019 Lincoln penny with no mint mark really be worth thousands, or even $1 million? Let's break it all down. Now, if you've ever checked your spare change or looked closely at a penny, you might have come across one dated 2019 with no mint mark just under the year. At first glance it might seem like just another coin. But hold on. Some of these pennies have been causing a stir online with rumors that they're worth big bucks. So what's the real story behind the 2019 Lincoln 1-cent coin with no mint mark? And could it truly be a hidden treasure? Let's start with the basics. The 2019 penny features the familiar image of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse or front of the coin. This design has been used since 1909 and is one of the most iconic in American coinage history. The reverse features the Union Shield design, which replaced the Lincoln Memorial design in 2010. Now, when we talk about a coin with no mint mark, we're usually referring to coins minted in Philadelphia. Unlike Denver, which uses AD, or San Francisco, which uses an S, the Philadelphia Mint often produces coins without any mint mark at all. So if you see a 2019 penny with no letter under the date, that simply means it was minted in Philadelphia. So what makes some of these pennies potentially valuable? The answer lies in mint errors. While a regular 2019 penny with no mint mark is extremely common and has a face value of 1 cent, some coins from this year have been found with striking errors or other unusual features. These errors might include things like off-center strikes, double dies, or coins struck on the wrong planchet. And when it comes to coin collecting, errors like these can increase the value significantly. Let's look at some real examples. In early 2020 and 2021, several 2019 pennies with dramatic double die obverse errors were discovered. These errors showed clear doubling in the inscriptions like Liberty or In God We Trust. Coins with strong doubling like this, especially when certified by professional grading companies such as PCGS or NGC, have sold for anywhere from $50 to several $100 depending on their condition and the strength of the error. Now, there have also been reports of 2019 pennies struck on dime planchets, or even with die caps and other rare minting anomalies. These types of extreme errors are very scarce and can command prices in the thousands. But it's important to remember that these are the exception, not the rule. So here's the big question. Can a 2019 no mint mark Lincoln penny be worth $1 million? The answer in almost every case is no. While some error coins are rare and can fetch high prices, there is currently no known 2019 penny that has sold for anything close to $1 million on the open market. Most circulated examples without any errors are only worth face value. Even uncirculated coins straight from a mint roll might only bring in a few cents above face value unless there is something truly special about them. That being said, the market can be unpredictable. A perfect condition 2019 penny with a rare and dramatic mint error that gets national attention and is graded MS68 or higher could potentially sell for several $1,000s to the right collector. But $1 million claims are usually either exaggerated or based on misinformation. Another thing to keep in mind is that online listings can be misleading. If you search on marketplaces like eBay, you'll often find people listing 2019 pennies for ridiculous prices. Just because a coin is listed for $10,000 or even $1 million does not mean anyone is actually buying it at that price. Always check the sold listings and consult professional appraisal resources before assuming a coin's worth. So what should you do if you have a 2019 Lincoln penny with no mint mark? First, examine it carefully under good lighting. Look for any signs of doubling in the lettering or unusual features on the coin's surface. If you suspect you may have an error coin, you can submit it to a grading company for authentication. The cost of grading varies, but for potentially valuable coins it can be well worth it. In conclusion, the 2019 no mint mark Lincoln penny is a very common coin that most people will find in their change. However, there are rare exceptions in the form of mint errors that can make certain examples valuable to collectors. While these coins can sometimes be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars in extreme cases, none are known to be worth anything close to $1 million as of now. Always do your research and consult reputable sources before making assumptions about a coin's value. 2020 D mint mark Abraham Lincoln 1 cent penny. Yeah, that little copper coin in your change jar might just surprise you. Now let's get right into it. First things first, the D mint mark means this coin was minted in Denver in 2020. Billions, yes, billions of these pennies were produced. To be exact, over 4 billion Lincoln pennies with the D mint mark came out of the Denver mint that year. So with numbers like that, you might be thinking, well, there's no way this coin is rare or valuable, right? Well, not so fast, because while most of these pennies are still worth just 1 cent, there are some rare versions that can sell for hundreds and in rare cases even thousands of dollars. And when a rare variety or a perfect condition coin hits the market at the right time, the value can skyrocket. In fact, we're going to talk about how some of these coins have been valued well into the 5 and even 6-figure range. So what makes the 2020 D Lincoln penny worth more than a cent? There are 3 big factors: condition, errors, and rarity. Let's break it down, starting with condition. Grading matters a lot in the coin world. If your 2020 D Lincoln penny is in pristine mint state condition, especially graded MS67, MS68, or even better by a service like PCGS or NGC, it could fetch serious money. For example, a 2020D penny graded MS68 red has been known to sell for up to $500 at auction. Now imagine a coin in MS69 or a perfect MS70. We're talking extremely rare territory there, and if someone's willing to pay a premium, you could be looking at a coin worth thousands. Next up, let's talk about errors. Now this is where things get spicy. Certain 2020D pennies have come out with wild mint errors. We're talking about off-center strikes, double dies, die clashes, and even coins struck on the wrong planchet. One of the most sought-after errors is the double die, where Lincoln's face or the letters on the coin appear double. These kinds of errors can easily make a 1-cent coin worth $100 to $500, but it gets better. Some extreme error coins with dramatic off-centers or double strikes have sold for over $1,000 in rare cases. If the error is dramatic enough, and it's a one-of-a-kind coin, we're talking potential values into the tens of thousands. Now you're probably wondering, has any 2020D Lincoln penny ever sold for $1 million? Well, here's the deal. As of now, number 2020D penny has reached that $1 million mark, but that doesn't mean it can't happen. There have been pennies in the past like the 1943 copper Lincoln cent, or the 1955 double die, that have sold for hundreds of thousands. So if a 2020D penny with a major one-of-a-kind error ever surfaces, or if a flawless MS70 pops up and gets serious attention, it's not impossible for it to fetch an insane price. Market trends change and collectors are always chasing the next holy grail. Another thing to note is timing. When a coin gets hyped on social media or gets featured in a news segment or a popular auction, its value can explode. So it's not just about rarity, but also exposure and collector demand. So here's the takeaway: if you've got a 2020D Lincoln penny lying around, check it, look at the date, look for that D mint mark, and then look really closely for any signs of doubling, unusual edges, or other minting issues. If it's clean and bright, you might want to get it graded, and if it's got a crazy mint error, don't spend it. Check eBay, check Heritage Auctions, check PCGS price guide, because you never know, that tiny 1-cent coin might be your ticket to $1,000 or more, and who knows, with enough collector buzz and the right buyer, maybe someday a 2020D penny will actually break that $1 million barrier. 2021 D mint mark Abraham Lincoln 1-cent penny coin. And more importantly, we're breaking down how much it's worth today, what collectors are paying, and whether any of these coins have sold for thousands or even millions of dollars. So grab your pennies and let's see if you're holding on to a hidden treasure. First things first, let's talk about the basics of the 2021 D Lincoln penny. This coin was minted at the Denver Mint, which is what the D mint mark stands for. It features the iconic image of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, the front side of the coin, and the Union shield on the reverse, or back side. This design has been used since 2010 and continues through 2021. The coin is made of copper-plated zinc, weighing about 2.5 grams. In terms of production, the Denver Mint struck over 4 billion of these coins in 2021. That's right, billions with a B. So the standard, everyday 2021 D penny in circulated condition is technically worth just 1 cent. But of course, we're here for the exceptions. Now you might be wondering, with so many of these pennies out there, how can one be worth more than a few cents, let alone thousands or even millions of dollars? Well, let's dive into the key factors that can make a 2021 D Lincoln penny far more valuable. The first factor is condition. Coins that are in mint state condition, meaning they've never been used or handled roughly, can sell for more money. Grading services like PCGS and NGC professionally grade these coins, with grades going from MS60 up to MS70. The closer to 70, the better the condition. Some high-grade 2021 D pennies have sold for around $10 to $50, depending on how flawless they are. But even at those prices, we're still not talking about life-changing money. So what does make a 2021 D penny worth thousands or possibly more? The answer is errors and varieties. Error coins are coins that were minted with mistakes. These can include double dies, off-center strikes, die cracks, die chips, or coins struck on the wrong planchet. These types of errors can make a coin very rare and highly collectible. Let's take a look at some specific examples. Some 2021 D pennies have been discovered with die chips on Lincoln's eye or mouth. These are sometimes called drooling Lincoln errors and can fetch anywhere from $10 to $100 depending on the size and visibility of the chip. Then there are coins with dramatic off-center strikes where part of the design is missing. These can sell for upwards of $50 to $200 if the error is strong and the date is still visible. But the real money comes with doubled dies. A double die occurs when the design is accidentally stamped twice at different angles, causing a shadow effect or doubling on the coin. While double dies are more common in older coins, collectors always keep an eye out for new examples in recent coins. If a 2021 D penny is found with a strong double die, especially on Lincoln's face or the lettering, it could be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Now here's where things get really interesting. There have been rumors and unconfirmed reports of rare transitional errors or coins struck on planchets meant for other denominations. For example, if a 2021 D penny was accidentally struck on a dime planchet, or with a missing coud layer, it could be extremely rare. These types of coins, especially when authenticated, can sell for thousands of dollars at auction. Some collectors even claim that rare modern era coins have sold for 5 figures and more. So is it possible that a 2021 D Lincoln penny could be worth $1 million theoretically? Yes. But it would take a perfect storm. That means a never-before-seen minting error, a coin in flawless condition, and a willing buyer at auction who's ready to spend big for a unique piece. While this is extremely rare, it is not impossible. Coins like the 1943 copper penny or the 1974 aluminum cent have fetched prices close to or over $1 million because of their extreme rarity and historical significance. Back to our 2021 D penny, what can you do to find out if your coin is valuable? First, examine the coin closely with a magnifying glass or digital microscope. Look for unusual features like doubling, chips, cracks, or off-center strikes. Second, compare your coin to examples online or in coin catalogs. If you think you have something unusual, consider sending it to a grading service for authentication. And third, stay up to date with auction results and coin collecting forums. New errors and varieties are being discovered all the time. Just because something hasn't been found yet doesn't mean it won't be. To sum it all up, most 2021 D Lincoln pennies are only worth face value. But coins in high-grade condition can bring in a few dollars, and era coins can sell for much more. With the right combination of rarity, condition, and demand, even a modern penny could become a major payday.